Testing. There we go. Good afternoon. Welcome back from lunch, and welcome to the session where we're going to discuss whether the Balkans can become the next investment hotspot, or more like how it will become the next investment hotspot. My name is Catherine Avgerinos de Campo. I'm the moderator today. I just completed a 12-year run at the World Economic Forum, and now I'm working for a global communication consultancy, Weber Shandwick, based in Geneva, Switzerland. So as a Greek American who also has been very much involved in the Eastern European world through my career, I'm very, very pleased to be in this discussion. What we want to talk about today is really, the era of digital transformation, obviously accelerated by the pandemic, is offering opportunities for cross-border investments and economic collaboration in the Balkans. What we want to understand is the pathway for achieving that, for turning the region into an investment hotspot for technology and innovation. What are the opportunities, but what equally are the roadblocks or the bottlenecks that we must overcome and we must work on together to solve? We all know very well that it's a complicated region. It's geopolitical dynamics and historical legacies to navigate, as well as current national level political transitions and ongoing instabilities in the neighborhood. But it's also a region full of young talent, for example, Kosovo, the youngest nation in Europe, right? With opportunities to leapfrog into new digital infrastructure. You in this room, as decision makers, as policy makers and leaders, must work to ensure the right enabling environment, one that also promotes a better way of living, better health, and for our planet as well, and equality. So, what will it take to catalyze the regional cooperation and get there? So I'm going to invite you to give your opening remarks in the order that we have in the program. We have the good fortune of coming after lunch, so let's also keep that in mind. Hopefully we don't have to also compete with the thunderstorm. But in terms of keeping your remarks brief, and then I hope to also really much engage in a discussion. It is Chatham House rules, so it provides a chance for us to not only tell our hopes, but also share a little bit about what is keeping us up at night, or what is our big challenges, because these forum, as I've seen equally in Davos, are important really to say, okay, where is that space that we need to, what are those areas where we really need to kind of double down and be able to unlock opportunity. So, without further ado, I invite Minister Leonidas Christopoulos, General Secretary of Digital Governance and Procedures from the Ministry, to open us up.
Thank you very much. I welcome everybody to Salonika, to Greece, to discuss about this very interesting topic, and I really thank you for the invitation to participate in this roundtable discussion on investment advancement in the Balkan region. And we are proud for the contribution of Greece to raising our region's investment profile in the new era of extroversion and maturity for Balkan economies. Today, our region enjoys the benefits of geopolitical and economic stability, although we have, as you very clearly described, issues that need to be resolved, with all states right now being members of NATO and some of the EU, and we hope that more of EU entries will follow from the Balkan states. And the region offers a stellar investment proposal compared to global emerging markets. We have reached a high degree of business consolidation within our national economies, as well as intra-regionally in many industries, leading to the emergence of regional and global champions. For this reason, private equity investments in the Balkans are more popular than ever. Equally, our countries boast a high-skilled workforce by global standards, a result of world-class technical education our nations provide. The investment value of the Balkan region is far beyond its nearshoring capabilities and is well on the way of becoming an international technology and innovation hub. So I think that digital transformation of the Balkan states and economies is paramount to achieve this. I will briefly describe what we have done in Greece, because I think that it could be a good basis for what we will discuss later in the conversation. As you know, in 2019, the new government put digital transformation of the country in the center of its policy-making agenda by creating a new ministry dedicated to the digital transformation of Greece as a country, both in the state, the market, the society. And we implemented our digital transformation strategy on all aspects of the society. We thrived to establish a business-friendly environment, and this resulted in the overall growth of the Greek economy and strengthened the confidence among foreign investors in the future growth of Greece. And I want to stress that, of course, the pandemic facilitated this digital transformation that happened in Greece, but it was not the case. There was a plan before the pandemic on how we would design and implement a digital transformation strategy. First of all, we constantly improve the state interface and work relentlessly on simplification and digitalization of procedures to reduce bureaucracy. Greece was one of the most bureaucratic states in the past that was hindering investments, was hindering economic activity in Greece. We had the biggest percentage of bureaucracy, if it can be measured, related to GDP, as the European Commission had measured. We have reduced it by digitizing almost 30% of our service provision by the public sector, both to citizens and businesses. We also tried to change our regulatory environment, make it more consolidated, make it more simple, and try to institutionalize big policy choices that we've made, like the cloud-first policy that actually attracted a lot of investment from big tech companies in Greece, like Microsoft, Google, Amazon Web Services, Cisco, and Deutsche Telekom, that are all developing significant presence in Greece, and they are providing a vote of confidence to Greece's potential, at the same time promoting innovation and growth across the country economy. And that was a very clear choice due, in my opinion, to the regulatory choices that we've made in Greece. If you know the numbers, generally, net inflows of FDI to Greece in 2022 exceeded 7.2 billion compared to 5.3 billion in 2021. That is what the Bank of Greece is telling us. And this increase represents a 35% jump year on year, a 6-to-1 increase compared to pre-COVID period, and is the highest net FDI inflow since 2002. So I would say that in general, what we're trying to do, the digital transformation strategy of Greece paves the way for further development of the Greek startup ecosystem, which is very important for us and for further developing also the collaboration that we're talking about, because I believe that the collaboration will also come from the bottom up, from ecosystems that are actually cooperating in this IT sector. The total number of startups funded this year is about 30% more than last year, while the total investment secured by them exceed 500 million. 2021 was the year we met the first unicorns established and operated in Greek territory, PeopleCert, Blueground, and Viva Wallet, companies valued at over $1 billion. Overall, Greece is now attractive to investors for three main reasons: improved transportation and logistics infrastructure, digital infrastructure, when we were one of the first countries that finished the 5G auction in Europe, and skilled workforce. Our policies on sustainable growth and climate change are also factors that global investors appreciate. I will stop here by saying three main things that I think are vital on what we've done to Greece, because we tried to innovate from an administrative point of view. Apart from the ministry, the new ministry that is trying to think a bit out of the box on what policies we should design and implement, we also passed for the first law, and I don't know, I'm not sure of whether the rest of the European countries have done the same. We passed a law in the summer of 2022 on emerging technologies, AI, Internet of Things, blockchains, how they're used in the public sector, how we should monitor these emerging technologies in the private sector, trying to find the balance between innovation and protecting the public interest. So there is a new law that will definitely be modified in the next years due to the pace that these new technologies are running. And one of the other innovations innovations that we had is that we used 25% of the revenues from the 5G auction in a particular fund, the Festos Fund, that apart from funding 5G technology startups from Europe as a whole, not just Greek startups, it also gives them part of the spectrum for free in order to be able to do their testing of their new products, and it provides big public entities of the public sector in order for them to be able to test their products in real time in the public sector, and then the public sector can use the products if they are successful on discount or for free for a certain period of time. These are things that we had never done before. These are things that are actively supporting the startup ecosystem, and these are things that could be the basis of further collaboration with other Balkan states because they're open to companies and startups from the region as well. I will stop here because I know I've taken a lot of time, and I will be happy to answer any questions or discuss later.
Fantastic, thank you. Next we will hear from the Deputy Minister of Regional Development from Kosovo, Deputy Minister Velihi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Almir Veli. I'm from Republic of Kosovo. I'm Deputy Minister of Regional Development of Kosovo. I speak English little, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's an honor to stand before you today as we gather to discuss a topic of utmost significance in today's interconnected world, digital transformation in era of cross-border investments and economic diplomacy. Could the Balkans become the next investment hotspot in this era of rapid technological advancements and globalization? The convergence of digital transformations and cross-border investments holds immense potential for economic growth and prosperity. Today, we shall delve into the transformative power of digitalization, the allure of the Balkans as an emerging investments destination, and the opportunities it presents for economic diplomacy. The digital revolution has fundamentally reshaped the way live, work, and contact business. It has disrupted traditional industries, unleashed innovative business models, and connected people across the globe like never before. Embracing digital technologies has become imperative for nations to remain competitive in the global economy. It enables greater efficiency, scalability, and productivity, fostering innovation and driving economic growth. Digital transformation empowers business to optimize processes, leverage big data analytics, harness the power of artificial intelligence, and enhance customer experiences. It has the potential to revolution industries, create new markets, and reshape the economic landscape. In this context, cross-border investments play a vital role in capitalizing on the opportunities presented by digital transformation. As technology transcends borders, it is essential to foster international collaboration and investments to drive growth. The Balkans, with its strategic geographic location at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, presents a compelling investment case. The region, once may conflict and political instability, has now emerged a promising investment destination with tremendous untapped potential. The Balkans offer a rich tapestry of cultural diversity, a skilled and educated workforce, and a growing entrepreneurial spirit. As the region embraces digitalizations, governments have implemented robust reforms to improve business environments, attract foreign direct investment, and develop digital infrastructure. With a rapidly expanding tech startup ecosystem, innovative hubs, and a flourishing digital economy, the Balkans are positioned themselves as a hub for innovative and technological excellence. Moreover, economic diplomacy plays a pivotal role in supporting and facilitating cross-border investments. Governments are increasingly recognizing the importance of foreign strong economic ties, fostering partnership and promoting investment-friendly policies. By leveraging diplomatic channels, countries can attract foreign investors, establish bilateral agreements, and facilitate knowledge transfer and capacity building. Economic diplomacy serves as a catalyst for growth, fostering collaboration and driving the sustainable development of nations. The Balkans, with their geopolitical significance and increasing economic integration, presents a unique opportunity for economic diplomacy. Governments in the region have been proactive in engaging with international partners, fostering trade agreements and implementing investor-friendly policies. Through target economic diplomacy initiatives, the Balkans have the potential to attract substantial investments, encourage technology transfer, and fuel economic development. In conclusion, the convergence of digital transformation, cross-border investments, and economic diplomacy presents an unprecedented opportunity for the Balkans to emerge as the next investment hotspot. With its strategic location, technological advancements, and the commitment of governments in the region, the Balkans offer an environment conducive to innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic growth. By embracing digitalization and fostering international partnership, the Balkans can unlock their true potential and shape a prosperous future for their nation. Thank you all for your attention. So sorry for speak English, so sorry.
Your English was excellent, so thank you very much for those remarks, Deputy Minister. Takes a lot of courage not to speak in a different language, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next, we'll turn to the Secretary of State from Investments and European Project of Romania, Mr. Andrian Raulea.
Hello, thank you very much for the invitation. Of course, we've been talking about digital transformation all day long. I've been active in other panels, but what I wanted to say that digital transformation is actually a mandatory process now in any development endeavor. And digitalization is the rule to keep up with the pace the world is changing. And in this context, cross-border investments and economic diplomacy play a crucial role. And these two elements are closely intertwined, as effective economic diplomacy can pave the way for increased cross-border investments, driving economic growth and prosperity. However, as with every type of development, we are facing a digital divide. Mostly the EU has been stepping up to support investments in digital transformation in the Balkans through the Regional Cooperation Council and the implementation of the Digital Decade of Western Balkans since 2018, actually to unlock the region's potential and make the Balkans fit for the digital age. In December 2022, operators from the European Union and Western Balkans signed the declaration of significantly reduced data roaming charges as of October 1st, 2023, a move that will support their broader digital agenda by making services more affordable. And The conference held in Sarajevo in March emphasized also on the need to create a new regional digital area to stimulate the region's potential. Actually, a little bit about Romania. Romania boasts a strategic geographical location. It's quite a bridge between the Eastern and Western Europe, also close to the Balkans. This favorable position presents opportunities for trade and investment flows between the European Union and the Balkans, as well as the wider region. We have made significant progress in building a robust digital infrastructure. We have invested a lot in broadband, and I think we're one of the top countries in data speed, for example. And this is why Romania is an attractive destination for tech companies and startups looking to establish a presence in our region. Also, the digital infrastructure provides a solid foundation for further advancements in areas such as e-commerce, fintech, and digital services. As Greece, I have heard today, Romania has a talented pool of tech professionals with a strong emphasis on STEM education and the growing entrepreneurial ecosystem. The country has become a hub for IT outsourcing, with many multinational companies establishing development centers in Romania. But still, we try to go from, let's say, built in Romania or outsourced in Romania to innovated in Romania. So not just working for other companies in the western part of the Europe or in the USA, but actually to get our own services and our own products to be on the market. Actually, this skilled force, combined with the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship, positions Romania as a promising destination for digital investments. As traditional investment destinations become more saturated, investors are seeking new opportunities in emerging markets. The Balkans offer untapped potential with a large consumer base, low labor costs still, and an improving business environment. By capitalizing on digital transformation, the region can leverage its strengths and attract investments across various sectors, including technology, manufacturing, tourism, and services. Of course, this is important also to acknowledge that challenges must be addressed to realize the full potential of digital transformation and investments in the Balkans, including Romania. These challenges include the need to strengthen regulatory frameworks, enhance digital literacy, a problem that I think we have in the whole Balkans and in Eastern Europe, foster innovation ecosystems, and improve infrastructure in general. Governments and businesses must work together to create an enabling environment that encourages investment, supports entrepreneurship, and promotes the adoption of digital technologies. Digital transformation in the era of cross-border investments and economic diplomacy presents both opportunities and challenges for the Balkans, with Romania poised to become a prominent investment hotspot. With its strategic location, strong digital infrastructure, talented workforce, and favorable investment climate, Romania can leverage digital information to attract investments, drive economic growth, and enhance regional cooperation. However, concerted efforts are needed to address the challenges and create an ecosystem conducive to innovation and sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll turn to Mr. Branko Zeski, President of the Economic Chamber of North Macedonia. Thank you. Oh, we have to get...
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be in your company today to share my experience at this eminent gathering. However, my approach will be realistic because I have been representing the real sector for 30 years, already entering. I help business fulfill their function. Simply put, instead of digitalization of business and economies, I will start with the segment we can achieve the best result in, which is economic diplomacy. Prvo, znači синхронизирана регионална економска дипломатија. Заеднички или синхронизиран пристап на економската дипломатија на земјите регионот ќе придонесе за подобро позиционирање на регионот во целина, како заеднички регионален пазар. Ако заштитен знак на регионот ќе биде потребно да се брендира како Western Balkan Region, трендмарк Made in Western Balkans, за што ќе се позиционира регионот со посебен идентитет.
Firstly, we will start with the synchronized regional economic diplomacy. Joint or synchronized approach of the regional economic diplomacy will lead to better position of the region as a common regional market, CRM, and the region should be branded with the Western Balkans region trademark, made in Western Balkan, which would position the region with a special identity.
Вториот е регионалниот пристап на привлекување на инвестициите, затоа што мислам дека тука најбрзо можеме да ја постигнеме целта преку регионалниот пристап за привлекување, бидејќи сме поединачно тука напреднале. Креирањето на заедничката политика на регионот на привлекување на странски инвестиции, доколку секој од земјите Западен Балкан креира своји програми и политики за странски директни инвестиции, како што е во моментот, тоа земјите сами си конкурираат намалувајќи ги даноците и другите давачки, а зголемувајќи ги погодностите и бенефициите за странските директни инвеститори. На тој начин сите земји се помалку или повеќе губитници.
The second is the regional approach to attracting investments or regional FDI inflow. Making a common regional policy on attracting foreign investments. If each of the Western Balkan countries develops its own FDI programs and policies as it stands currently, then the countries are each other's competitors, reducing taxes and other charges and increasing privileges and benefits for foreign direct investors. Thereby, all countries are more or less losers. Therefore, building a common approach among Western Balkan countries will significantly improve the negotiation positions with potential foreign investors in the Balkans, ensuring thereby that all the individual regional economies would win. This is evident in the fact that the FDI growth rate in the Western Balkans 2021-2022 is exceptionally high, amounting to 23%.
Третиот пристап, кој што мислам дека треба да биде да не приближи до целта, се регионалните ланци за снабдување. Регионот на Западен Балкан во целина е мал пазар во споредба со пазарите на Европската Унија, а секој од економиите на национално ниво е уште помала. Неопходно интегрираност во глобалните ланци, како регион земјите од Западен Балкан, се проценува дека бруто домашниот производ би се зголемил за 1,5 до 2%, поени во однос на слободата на движење на луѓе, производи, услуги и капитал.
The regional supply chains or regional value chain. As a whole, the Western Balkans is a small market relative to the EU markets, and the separate national economies are even smaller individually. The region must be consolidated in its entirety to create a common regional market, CRM, that integrates the EU values, rules, and key principles based on the 4 freedoms by mutually recognizing arrangements, eliminating obstacles, cutting costs at the time it takes to move goods, services, capital, business, and people in the region.
И сега доаѓаме до... Да. Да. Одиме на ово.
Дигитализација?
Да. Идаме на клучниот дел, тоа е дигитализација на бизнисите и економиите. Во рамките на повеќегодишните планови на регионалниот економски маркет, воспоставена е перманентен диалог за дигитална трансформација на регионот. Два аспекта се тука битни. Дигитализација на бизнисите и економиите и е влада или Western Balkan 6 регион.
The fourth point is digitalization of business and economies. Digitalization at the level of enterprises and national economies is an inevitable process of both increasing company competitiveness and of establishing digitalized systems within institutions or e-governments. which would expedite the flow of goods, services and businesses and would reduce the possibility for corruptive activities. The multi-annual action plan on regional economic area in the Western Balkans and the common regional market define permanent dialogue of the digital transformation of the region. There are two aspects relating to digitalization that should be decisive in the upcoming steps to develop the Balkan economies, namely, digitalization of businesses and economies in the region by providing digital variants of the goods and services offered. Companies that have undergone digitalization have better chances both in regional and international markets. Digitalizations of the very companies is imminent if they are to survive, but the process is also a chance to position themselves better in the international markets and to raise the visibility of their goods and services. E-government or WB6. Digitalization of the economies in the region of all institutions and documents related to the unhindered flow of goods and services. Positioning the Western Balkan economies as a common market demands digital solutions to ensure uninterrupted cooperation and flow of goods and services that is free from barriers, time restraints and long waiting times at borders.
И сега мојот заклучок.
In the end, the conclusion.
Ова го направив наопаку од поставените таргети.
I have made my presentation other way around from the targets that have been proposed.
За да покажам дека на Балканот работите се обратни од тоа што треба да бидат.
Because I wanted to show that on the Balkans things are obviously most of the time are other way around.
Ние зборуваме за едно исклучително важно прашање без кое не може напред додат економиите и државите.
We are talking about an extremely important question and without which we cannot go forward.
А тоа треба да го спроведат неодговорни политички гарнитури.
And this must be implemented by political governments which are unfortunately lacking responsibilities.
Дали е тоа можно?
Is this possible?
Ние за 30 години после разбивањето на блоковите,
After 30 years of the degradation of the blocks on the Balkans,
не направивме евидентен напредок.
we didn't come to a very great achievement and moved forward.
Затоа мојата порака е следна.
This is why my message to all is this.
Доста бизнисот им даваше шанса на политичките елити.
We should stop give our businesses chances to the political elite.
Ова прашање за дигитализација бизнисот треба да го реши сам.
The question about the digitalization should be covered by the business themselves, not by the government.
Со тоа, ако он се побрзо дигитализира, ќе изврши притисок на јавната администрација да она го направи тоа.
If the businesses would start digitalization of their own activities or so on, they will make the pressure and make the changes accordingly in the system.
Бизнисот го интересира само профит.
The business is interested only by the profits.
Она што нас ни треба како порака од овај денешен собир,
What we need to understand as a conclusion from today's gathering,
дека таргетот е дигитализација,
is that the target is digitalization,
дипломатија економска,
economic diplomacy,
а остварувањето е можно само преку бизнисот, затоа што бизнисот нема разлики, има една цел, тоа е профит.
and the realization Is it out of Tenehi material?
Значи дека бизнисот нема разлики, има една цел, тоа е
And this will be done only by the businesses, because businesses between themselves, they do not understand differences. They have only common thing, and this is the profit itself.
Или како што вика еден мој пријател,
And as a friend of mine used to say,
кога ќе има стандард до 500 евра,
when the standard would come up to 500 euros,
зборуваш за национализам.
he's talking about nationalism.
Кога ќе имаш преку 1000 евра, зборуваш каде ќе одиш на викенд.
If you have above 1,000 euros income, you talk about where would you go for a weekend.
Кога ќе имаш на 3000, зборуваш каде ќе одиш на одмор.
If you have above 3,000 euros, you're thinking about where would you go to your next vacation.
Ако имаш на тоа, зборуваш за временска прогноза.
And if you have above 3,000 euros, then you are talking about weather forecast.
Фала ви многу.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Left us a lot to think about in the end. Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Mrs. Vivi Papasouli, Mandate Manager from the European Investment Fund.
Hello? Okay, now it works. Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for the invitation. It's an honor to be part of this panel. Just a brief introduction to the European Investment Fund for those of you that are not aware of my institution. So the European Investment Fund is a European institution. It's part of the European Investment Bank Group. We are a European institution whose sole purpose in life, as one of our ex-chief executives used to say, is to support access to finance for the SMEs across the European Union. So basically, we have our main shareholders is the European Investment Bank, the European Commission, so basically all the member states of the European Union, as well as private and public international financial institutions. And the way we support SMEs across the EU is by providing finance through financial intermediaries. So we do not provide finance directly to SMEs. We do that through providing debt instruments through banks across the EU, as well as venture capital funding, basically through fund managers, VCs, or private equity working across the EU. So basically, we have two types of mandators. We have basically mandators from the Commission or the EIB, that is the EU level. So we have calls out for debt and equity instruments at the EU level. But what I'm representing here, and I think what's relevant to our discussion, is the regional work we do, which is the work we do working with what we call with our public-private partnerships with the regional and national authorities at the regional and national level, where we have more nascent ecosystems like the ones we have in southeastern Europe, including Greece and Cyprus, that for some reason are not included many times in this part of Europe. So drilling down to the innovation, digitalization, and what we do in this part of Europe, the EIF has been working actually hand in hand with many of these of the national and regional authorities in countries, including Romania, Croatia, Bulgaria, Greece, everybody that's sitting around the table actually. And we have been supporting for many, many years now, more than a decade, the most dynamic part of these economies, which is basically the companies that have been traditionally working with the cutting-edge technologies in order to disrupt the traditional way of doing things in all parts of the traditional sectors. So whether it was just using the internet 25 years ago, or today, whether it's AI or any other technologies we are not even aware of, we have been supporting these companies through our VC and private equity funds that are the riskiest companies. but the ones that have the highest potential. So we have been supporting startups throughout these regions all these years in cooperation with the regional and national authorities. And we have been doing that because in the nascent ecosystems, we need the public financing to come in first and give their trust in the system and support the system before the private investors are convinced to come in. So basically the way it works is that the national and regional authorities entrust the European Investment Fund that then manage the funds on behalf of the national and regional authorities. We have calls out and we select through our typical procedures. We select the VC fund managers that we entrust. The nascent ecosystems, we typically think that the ecosystems that are not so developed have a lack of entrepreneurs. Yes, but not entirely. We also have first-time teams, so the fund managers are also not there yet. I mean, experienced fund managers with all the networks that are in place. The private investors are not there. They are more, these are very risky markets, so the private investors do not trust the market yet. So having public financing on the ground is crucial. The public-private participation is crucial to kickstart these ecosystems. And in all of these regions, in all of the regions that we are targeting now in this discussion, this cooperation has been instrumental the past decade to kickstart the ecosystems on the ground. So the South and Eastern Europe, it has some characteristics. I think most of you have already alluded to them. We have a very skilled workforce. We have very good engineers on the ground. We have amazing research centers, very good universities. I think we will hear more on that from next speakers as well. We have an amazing drive. We have the entrepreneurs with an exceptional drive, and that actually have they have learned to do more with less because money and financing is not there. So it's not like, I don't know, Silicon Valley where money is not an issue. Here, financing is very scarce, so our people have really learned to work efficiently on the ground with as few financing as they can get on the ground. And our countries also have a big strength, that is the diaspora. So all of our countries have people that were forced or were capable enough to go abroad, pick up knowledge, experience, and money, and they are willing to bring it back and help and support their countries. So throughout this decade, I can tell you from the countries that I am working with, which is Bulgaria, Greece, and Cyprus at the time, but also from the countries that my colleagues are also working, which include Croatia and Romania and many other countries in the region, the ecosystems have developed. We are talking about unicorns in Romania, in Croatia, in Greece, in Bulgaria, that, to be honest, to be frank, between us 6 years ago, nobody would have thought about that we would have unicorns in this part of Europe. It would be out of the question. None of this was a given, so we have all worked very hard from our part and everybody's part. All the shareholders have worked very hard. Is this enough? Not really. It's a very good start, but it's not enough. I think in terms of roadblocks, again, it has already been heard. I think regional cooperation is key. All of our countries are very well equipped, but they are very, very small. We all need to work together to the next step of developing the wider region. And we have to keep in mind that the public financing is there. It cannot be there forever. We need to go to the next level of the ecosystem development. And we need to be a trustworthy ecosystem for the private investors to come and stay, because when the markets are volatile, as they are today, because of the overall crisis that keep hitting the markets again and again, the riskier the markets, it's the first markets that the investors will leave. So we really have to make a trustworthy ecosystem that the private investors and this asset class in general will be willing to entrust, irrespectively of the wider market economic environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Aris Lampropoulos, President of the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments.
Thank you very much from my side as well, and thank you for participating in this very interesting forum. Taking the lead after Vivi, I would like to explain what Hellenic Development Bank of Investment is We are the sovereign fund of funds of Greece. We are the equity investor on behalf of the Greek state, prioritizing our investments in venture capital and private equity fund structures. And our role is to procure state and European resources that are mandated to ourselves to invest in these investment schemes. So in today's figures, the HDBI, the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments, we manage 2.1 billion euro, a very big amount for Greek standards, to boost and scale up the Greek equity ecosystem. We believe that we have done a good job to date, taking into consideration that during the past 3 years, the 2.5 years were years of major disruptions and uncertainties like world pandemic, lockdowns, hostilities in our region, etc. So we have invested to date about 400 million in 16 new venture capital and private equity funds. This shows a strong, and these funds, they have over 1 billion assets under management. So this denotes clearly that because of the policy that the Greek government has fostered during the past 4 years, Greece is scaling up, the ecosystem is scaling up, the Greek talent is in the radar of the foreign investors because of the successful exits, etc., that we heard earlier. Actually, what Secretary General Christopoulos mentioned about the Festos Fund for investing in 5G technologies, we manage on behalf of the state the resources as private LP in this fund, and we try to assist by identifying foreign institutional and other co-investors. Having said that, we have a very good relationship and partnership with EIF, European Investment Fund, and we try to identify areas for working together, collaborating, and actually exchanging of know-how. Now the focus is on verticals like biotech. However, we fully understand that digital transformation, which has been experienced in Greece during the past 3 years, is a catalyst for innovation, and this is something that has boosted also our innovation and startup ecosystem. Coming now to the cross-border partnerships, from our side we have started last year an event called Tech Tour Southeast Europe, and this year we will host it for second time, Tech Tour Southeast, in order to promote cross-border collaboration, enhance the networking of the regional ecosystem, and create strong partnerships for further showcasing the regional talent. And we try to focus on this value added by having already established very strong partnership with BPI France. We have already in our board of directors, after an invitation that I personally made, Isabelle Bebear Senior Director of BPI France for European International Affairs and an experienced lady in the venture capital and private equity sector. So we have in-house collaboration with BPI France. We participate in the Scale Up Europe initiative project as founding member together with BPI France, KfW Capital, TESI from Finland and Fexfonden from Denmark, and now we are discussing with EIF to participate in a similar project there. And of course we have a strong co-investment, we have already in effect co-investment partnership agreement with Mubadala Capital from Abu Dhabi. They have already invested in 3 Greek fund structures and ADQ, Abu Dhabi Developmental Holding. So these assets, let's say, and this experience that we have, we can share with our neighbors and try to create synergies and cross synergies because the talent is here, is regional, and we can all benefit out of this by investing further on this end.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll invite Mr. Max Gurvic, Managing Partner of Vitosha Venture Partners from Bulgaria, by way of Silicon Valley, I believe.
There we go. Good. Well, listen, thank you so much for having me here. I'm probably the first person, and hopefully not the last, who's here on their personal behalf, not representing a government or a public body, so I'll keep it short and I'll keep it more personal. My name is Max. I'm based in Bulgaria. I run a venture capital fund called Vitosha Venture Partners, which is one of the 16 funds we have in Bulgaria that do venture capital. I'm also on the board as a deputy director of the Bulgarian Venture Capital Association. You know, we've been very lucky in Bulgaria to have this funding ecosystem thanks to partners like EIF, who have been very active, very helpful. Thanks also to the national structure we have, the Bulgarian National Fund of Funds. You know, this region, as you can hear, I haven't always lived in the Balkans, although it is home for me very much. This region is fantastic, right? I'm originally Dutch. I've lived in many, many places in the world, and I remember very well that when I started becoming more connected to the Balkans, which happened about 15, 16 years ago, I felt that I had won the lottery, right? Because my previous, I started in innovation in business with a startup of my own in the Netherlands, which did quite well. We built it, we sold it. But I remember constantly, when I was building my first business, having this feeling that that I'm born in the wrong decade, right? And even when I talk to older people, I heard this very often, that, well, if you were around in the 60s and the 70s and 50s even, when our country was still poor, the Netherlands, that was the time to do new things, to do things that nobody had ever done before. Now, you know, in the 2000s, 2010s, you know, you follow paths that are already there. You follow opportunities that have been there and have been created by other people. In the Balkans, in the Southeast European region, in many ways, although our countries are so different from each other, you know, Greece is one thing, and Albania is another, and Kosovo is another, and Bulgaria is another, we have this opportunity that, on the one hand, we are firmly within the European system of values and of instruments, and our future is within the convergence system of Europe. On the other hand, we still have so many things to do and so many resources that we can utilize. So all the other speakers before me have already spoken so much about the good things that we have. One of the, you know, it is undeniable. We have a lot of talent. We have, you know, we have the opportunity, and some of our countries, like Greece, is doing this already, of being, you know, leaders in the world in certain areas, in certain industries, in the food industry, in the hospitality industry, in some of the tech industries, and hopefully more and more of the technology verticals as well. One thing, you know, I'd like to basically leave not so much with all the good things that we have, but maybe with the things that we can work on more. And that's people, talent, and that's more regional cooperation. Unfortunately, everybody who's outside the Balkans knows that the name of our beautiful peninsula is very often used to describe division, balkanization. We definitely have to do more things cross-border. And we're here. These events are happening more and more. We were just talking with Vivi also that, last week we had an event in Sofia, and the week before there was something in another country. We just have to, I think, be more consistent with, doing things together. It's really cool also that as part of Beyond this year, the European Business Angel Network Congress is happening here in this, in the next building, in this complex. So those are the forums that we have to much more actively engage in, and I just really hope that we keep meeting each other, for those who don't know each other yet, more and more in the region. And the other thing, the final thought is people. The one thing that nobody has mentioned yet, unfortunately, our countries in this part of Europe are among the countries, I think, globally, for sure in Europe, that are seeing the fastest and unfortunately the most persistent and consecutive decline in population, right? And with all that money, the head of the bank in Greece was mentioning some beautiful amounts that are under management. In Bulgaria, we also have, more money than we can actually put to good use. Sometimes we think we try to, improve on that. But without people, this will not work, right? So we need to get to a system where we not only retain our compatriots and work more with the diaspora. Those are important things, but here's a radical thought for the Balkans. We need to start becoming a destination for talent, because otherwise we simply won't be able to do what we are supposed to do and to utilize the opportunities that are ahead of us. I started on that journey myself. It was quite lonely. It still is, of someone who came to the Balkans without being born here. But I do hope that more people will do it, and I think it's one of the things we need to work on in the region. That's for me. Thank you.
Thank you. It's interesting to think of the talent both as the opportunity that's been enabling, the enabler, but also a potential threat if it runs out. Maybe we can return back to that in the follow-up discussion. Next, I'll invite Mr. Ihsan Elgin, Executive Board Member at Finberg, Turkey.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. It's getting long, I know, but I'm going to talk short. Actually, I'm Ihsan from Smyrna in Turkey. Living in Smyrna, and also my grandfather family is from Kosovo, Pristina, and my mother's family from Bulgaria. So I have investments in Romania and lots of investments in Romania, actually, and also Greece.
A true Balkan.
I have a co-founder in the Greece also. I'm an executive board member of the Finberg. Finberg is the biggest VC in Turkey, but not that's not why I'm here actually. At the same time, I am the representative Foreign Economics Relation Board of Turkey, the governmental organization. I am in the board of the VC part. And also at the same time, Turkey, we have an economic development plan every 5 years we are preparing. I am in the board of the economic development plan of Turkey, but I'm not talking any politically. This week we have again elections, so I'm not the right side, I'm the other side, so it's a little bit challenging. What I'm trying to say right now, actually, as I told you, I have a VC. I have invested $56 million totally in 5 years. 50% is out of Turkey. I mentioned the countries. Now I have the Middle East also. What I see, actually, the world is changing right now. What's happening in the US, there is lots of things happening. Everybody knows that because of this interest rate, the bank situation, Silicon Valley Bank, and other things, and the recession. And in the West Europe, it's not viable right now. We couldn't find anything to invest. I'm exclude the UK, but it's not, attractive for any investor from US, also from Turkey. Also, I have a funds of funds. I'm investing the funds, not like EIF, but I have investments in the US, in UK, LATAM, Southeast Asia, the funds I have invested. So what is the third thing? These are maybe the positive things for us, the Balkans, like US is a problem, West Europe is not viable. So, but the Middle East is changing, Middle East was just investing out of the country, region, but now they changed their strategy. They said, we will invest to all the foreign people, but if they move to Dubai, or if they move to Riyadh right now, Riyadh and Dubai and the Qatar is increasing very strongly, and we cannot raise money if we stay like this. So what is the important part? Actually, if you ask me what can be the strategy of this cross-border investments, it's a competition. Collaboration with the competition. Sometimes countries think that we are competitor. Of course, we are competitor in some perspective. But in the entrepreneurship world, we have a word of competition, as I said. Collaboration with the company. So what does it mean? Actually, if you think the entrepreneurial ecosystem, we have the important 5 things. One of them is the most important one is the talent. So where are these talents? Each country has the most important talents for entrepreneurial ecosystem. Some of them has the talents, but they are not entrepreneurial talents. Maybe 50% of Turkey like this. We have lots of good engineers. We have lots of good developers, all of them working with the big companies. Now all of them, because of our Turkish situation right now, they are moving to UK, to Berlin, and everywhere. They are moving out of country. So, but if you look to Romania, I'm sorry, there are lots of great software developers in Romania, unbelievable. So, these are the talent side. But we always look to talent like a labor. So we always look to what are the cheap labors. But now we have to change our mindset, and we need to be like a hunter of the talent. So who has the talent, we will invest there. That has to be strategy as a VC. I don't care. I don't want to just invest in Turkey. I want to invest in real talents, which is in this region, but I want to do it co-investment. I don't want to be invest alone. Last my 30 investments, I have almost 50 investments, 50. 97 of them has a co-investor. From London, UK, Eden base. From Romania, early guys, startup-wise, early guys. In Europe, 500 startups. So I always trying to find the co-investment to catch the talent. The second thing is the know-how. Know-how is coming from the industry. If you look in Turkey, everybody's trying to do the same thing in all the countries. They are copying the US, doing the same businesses, but we have different competencies. Like in Turkey, textile, automotive, these are the good things. In Greece, tourism and lots of things we have in Greece also. In the Romania, software business. So we need to focus on this industry know-hows. Maybe we can create co-funds to invest together in this region. So now I'm planning to invest this guy's fund. He's not here right now, that's why I will not invest, but...
I'll tell him.
May I jump in already with just a question for you, actually, because I think there's a very good connection.
I said I'm going to speak short, but... Okay,
you're almost done?
Yeah, almost done.
No, because I wanted to pick up on one topic here, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, last 2 things. One of them is the third one, talent, know-how, and the third one is the market size. Yeah. So in the Balkans, all the Balkan markets not that big actually. So we cannot do any business in locally. We need to do at least regional. So how can we do it? Like you can use Turkey as a test bed because we are almost 100 million people, and we have the West approach people, we have the East approach people. Now in Turkey, you know, maybe more than 10 million is the immigrants from Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, everywhere. So you can use Turkey as a test bed, or we can use the different countries for different things. So the important part, but we have to know that market size. So what is important if market size is important? Internationalization. So whatever you do, you can, if you cannot make internationalization, then there is no Chinese or there is no Qatar or US funds going to invest these countries, these companies. So the last thing is the capital. So we don't have that big capital in the region, make everybody's unicorn. You know what happened in Turkey? 10 years ago, all early stage investments, we had just $10 million investments to do startups. 5 years ago, it was $100 million. Last 2 years, $2 billion. In Turkey, they invested the VCs $2 billion every year, 300 companies. So, but this is maybe threshold. We cannot do more. So that's my last thing is we need to position our countries in the different roles, then we can do the competition together.
I just wanted, and Kyria Petty, we'll come to you just last, but I wanted to pick up on one point. So you're saying that the Balkans, they need to compete with each other to raise the bar. We also heard from the representative from Northern Macedonia about the need to have a common approach to FDI, to not compete with each other. So I was just wondering if there's...
But I didn't say compete each other. We have to do competition, collaboration with competition.
Ah, okay.
The other way around.
Okay, alrighty. We can come back to that. Next, we'll invite, though, for last but not least, Rebecca Pedi, Associate Professor at the Department of International and European Studies at the University of Macedonia, Greece.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Good. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure, great pleasure and honor to participate in this interesting panel. I'm the last speaker, so I'll try and I'll be brief. And as you heard, I come from academia. My background is in international relations of small states, and I'm teaching economic diplomacy. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to bridge the gap between academia and policy making. My contribution is based on what we know from our research and how we can use our knowledge in policy making. So the question is whether small states in the region can attract investment. Actually, there is a recipe for small states that want to attract investment. They have to act as entrepreneurial states. What does this mean? Probably my students hope, but my students there already know. What is an entrepreneurial state? Entrepreneurial states have three main characteristics. They are able to identify and harness opportunities. They are able to capitalize on on others' resources, public or private resources, and at the end of the day, they create value for themselves and for others. The for others part here is very important. Small states in the region, if they want to succeed, they have to create value for others too. So, can small states in the region act as entrepreneurial states? Are there any opportunities? The truth is that there are many opportunities, and Vivi Papasouli referred to some of them in her contribution before. There are competitive advantages we can harness. I want to give a different perspective. I will focus on one of the opportunities, and the opportunity is the European Union's effort to enhance its digital sovereignty and digital autonomy. The EU is giving and will give in the future billions for building high-performance computer systems. I believe that we have a potential in the region to harness this opportunity. The largest HPC infrastructure in the region are the Discover in Bulgaria and the Viga in Slovenia, both built with funding from EU. Greece is now building its supercomputer. One proposition is to share infrastructure and multiply their power. This will be valuable for startups, research centers, SMEs, and also governments. A second proposition is a common bid for a regional supercomputer. A third one is to harness Greece's experience in high-performance computing. Greece is a leader, actually. Greece is fifth after four largest countries in receiving money for supercomputing projects until now. So Greece can foster a regional HPC ecosystem with cooperation, common research activities, common research projects, common educational programs in order to enhance our expertise, cooperation with research centers in the region in order to transform the region with the aim to create a regional HPC hub. Equally, CPACT is an opportunity for research centers, SMEs, startups, etc. If we harness such opportunities, we will create new jobs, wealth, we will develop a regional ecosystem, and something important from a political perspective. The region will create some value for the EU. And this is very important because it will enhance the region's position within the EU, as we will be contributors to the EU's digital autonomy and sovereignty. Do we have any example of a small state that achieved to be a supercomputing hub? Luxembourg is the best example we have at the moment. Luxembourg harnessed the opportunity, increased its wealth, created jobs, and enhanced its status as a state that creates value within the European Union. I think that one crucial question is, what do entrepreneurial states need as long as opportunities are out there? Entrepreneurial politicians all across the region, with a focus on opportunity identification and regional cooperation. Better together in supercomputing should become a motto for the region. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you to all the speakers. I think we can open it up now to a bit more of discussion, which I'll kick off, and then we'll also invite people from the audience to ask any questions. But certainly we've heard some great examples of the national strategies and successes. Equally, though, we've heard calls for regional cooperation and a regional FDI strategy for the Balkans. What do we find are the roadblocks, right? What is your kind of the number one roadblock or bottleneck that is stopping the regional kind of FDI collaboration? I welcome anybody to raise their hand that wants to jump in first. Otherwise, I might call on you. Minister, would you like to?
It's, you know, after the first opening remarks that you do as a politician, which are a bit politically correct and at the right balance of what you want to say, and since we are under Chatham House rules, let us be frank about a few things. Regional cooperation on technology and trying to bring the Balkans together is not is always linked to the geopolitical tensions, as you said, that already exist in many areas. So in that sense, I would say that because the markets of the countries in the region are already collaborating. You know, people are already collaborating in many levels. When we're talking about technology, when we're talking about digital transformation, I would suggest that we should adopt a gradual perspective of what we want to do. Start small, start with soft issues, start with innovation hubs, start with, you know, startups with ecosystems that want to collaborate, and then try to set the rules as countries, set the rules of the game, so, you know, trust begins to evolve in the region, and then let it spill over in more, let's say, significant issues like supercomputing, for example, or like telecommunications, or like cybersecurity issues, or like things like that, which are more sensitive, more important to state safety, to what states actually think about. So I would say that the main bottleneck here is political. It doesn't have to do with technology. It doesn't have to do with what countries adopt as technology or what they want to do in their digital transformation agendas. It has to do with geopolitical issues. It has to do with how states will collaborate at the state level, not at the market level, because at that level I think people are already collaborating in the region. So I would say start small, start and gradually build up, have a spillover effect to more important issues, and set the rules of the game for the region in order to start in such a strategy. That would be my idea that I just thought of while discussing, while listening to everybody talking about their experiences and what they think that the region should do. Might be, you know, nothing, but I just put it on the table and...
An aha moment. Anyone want to come in after that, please?
If I may complement, as I will also have to excuse myself earlier from this very interesting panel, definitely, I think at the political level, on the technical level also, on the regulatory level, I think there are also some roadblocks also on the technical level that, for example, on the ecosystem, a lot of the funds that have been created on the ground on all of these countries, the public money that has been poured in comes from structural funds that, as per the European Commission regulatory basis, needs to be deployed only in its country. So this, by default, somehow blocks the area of operation of each of the funds that is supported by these countries. Now, this might come from the EC regulation, it might come from the mandates that its national promotional bank might have, as might be the case for the NPI of Greece. In reality, these might be regulatory requirements, these might be, I don't know, state requirements because of political interests, etc. The market is already ahead of that. So there are regional funds that are looking into this area and that are already investing and cherry-picking the best startups from Greece, from Bulgaria, from Romania. And these are funds that are looking into the wider region and have the ability to invest outside these small boxes. So I understand that the need to build the trust, and maybe this is not very politically correct coming from a representative of the European institution, but we need to run ahead of the market. We are not running ahead alone here. So there will be others harvesting the opportunities of the region if we do not make it first. And just one kind of provocative comment. I know that the area has been receiving a lot of grants for many, many years. The question is how we put them to use. And I have been working for the operational program of digital governance for many years in the past in Greece. It's not about receiving the grants, it's how we make use of them in practice. Thank you.
Please.
I have a few comments. What crossed my mind, because I think everybody was talking about talent and how to get talent from different parts of Europe maybe, or how to get back the talent that has left for studying, for working in big companies and things like that. And I was thinking that maybe two of the ideas would be interesting for the whole Balkan regions. Actually, I come from Cluj-Napoca. Cluj-Napoca is the second largest city in Romania after Bucharest. Also, I think like Thessaloniki, which is the second largest city after Athens. And one of the World Bank studies was very, let's say, was very positive on how second-tier cities develop and how they increase the whole development of the country. So if we invest and if we try to, let's say, encourage the development of the second-tier cities, then the whole region, the whole country would benefit out of that. On the other hand, also in terms of money, I don't know, we have representatives from venture capitalists and other kinds of financial institutions, but still we don't have in Europe one single stock exchange, for example. We have, I think, 50-something smaller stock exchange that I think that don't offer the same amount of money like the two stock exchanges in the US, for example. So maybe this is something that we could lobby on and see if we can do that in terms of in a single stock exchange in Europe to offer the money necessary for big companies to grow. And of course, if we have big companies and profitable companies, then we have countries that will thrive out of it. And going back to talents, because I have mentioned it before, I think this is a strong connection also between how you get talents and how the city itself develops the quality of life of the city that you want to develop, because if you have high-skilled workforce and you have talents that you want to bring back, then you have to offer them a good quality of life to stay there, because it's not enough money, because money, you can have money working from any other, let's say, part of Europe or part of the world, but to have the people staying in, then you have to offer them the good conditions to stay in the country.
If I may, I want to add that there is a lack of cooperation culture in the region and at the state level. And this is, for me, this is the most important bottleneck. Of course, it's a result of historical developments, but we need to recognize that we need more regional self-help, and we need to recognize that there is potential in the region. We can create a cooperation culture through bottom-up processes, second-track diplomacy, startup diplomacy, scientific cooperation, common research grants, bilateral or regional, in order to make people in the region realize that you can turn to your neighborhood and identify opportunities. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Just to add this kind of element, you know, collaboration is a must, and creating synergies adds to the so-called ecosystem. That's why we call it ecosystem and not competition or something else. So I totally agree that you have to start with small steps, small things to to make sure that there is a collaboration by encouraging networking, entrepreneurial allies, and on the other hand, what is very important is that in the next, Greece has already received and secured about 80 billion euro from European structural funds and resilience and recovery facility resources for the next 5 to 7 years to be deployed in the Greek economy. About over 25% of these resources will be deployed for the digital transformation of the country, which creates a lot of opportunities by also adding private sector involvement, because you need the private resources to be coupled with this European and public money. So this will create a bigger opportunity to go faster for a regional collaboration. Therefore, I believe that, and also for the talent, because in effect, at some point of time, we find a point where we have enough resources to be invested and less talent to be in the market. So already there is a big public discourse about reskilling and upskilling here in Greece, which is very interesting. There are examples, successful examples of national and country and regional collaborations in our region. For example, I always look at the story of Israel, as Professor Pedi spoke about entrepreneurial state. As a startup nation, they have invested and they have focused on this goal for more than 3 decades now. And just listen to the figures. 2021 GDP of Israel, $488 billion, with about 1 million less population compared to Greece, and Greece $214 billion, 488 versus 214. So all this is an accelerator out of the production function of innovation that can act as a catalyst, and digitization is a further catalyst of innovation. So this is a huge opportunity now for cross-border regional collaborations.
Thank you very much. I'd like to open up to the room. If anybody has any questions I'd like to address to the speakers. Yes? Please, if you don't mind, to introduce yourself.
Perfect. Yes. Hi, my name is George Plevris. I'm a policy advisor at the Greek Parliament, working a bit on foresight. My question, listening to all of you and your comments and some keywords you used, ecosystem, talent, communities, second-tier cities. I want to take you a bit out of the comfort zone and introduce a new concept to see how it relates to the way you invest, to the way you do diplomacy, and so forth. To what extent diversity, be it talent diversity, economic diversity, be it cultural diversity, plays a big part in driving your investment, driving your innovation? Because we are talking about the Balkans, the regions, and cooperation, cross-border cooperation, but then to what extent is the characteristics of the regions, the characteristics of its people, the big part of the innovation, a big part of the funding, and big part of designing and leaving a positive footprint to societies. For example, we have, the Secretary General knows very well, in Thrace we have a unique, Northern Thrace, we have a unique example of cultures working, creating an ecosystem, being from different experiences in life, different minorities, different perceptions and outputs that bring an added value in economic activity and then give back to the way they innovate and they create their ecosystems. So to which part that kind of diversity within the region gives back to the way investment should be designed and should pursued in the activities?
Would like to take that question first. Perhaps Mr. Elgin, you have a lot of diverse portfolio across the region.
Yes, that's right. Actually, I was trying to mention similar thing to you, but I didn't open it too much. So that's why I always saying that all the countries has a different, competency, different approach, and also they have different assets. We always divide everything into three. One of them is their competency, but one of them is their assets, what they have, physically or financially. And also the third thing is their approach, how to do the business. So that's why diversification is important, but usually it's not that easy to do the diversification in your portfolio in the countries. So you do the diversification, or in the other word, it's a hedging your portfolio to investing in different countries because of their economic situation. So if you see that some market is in the maturity, you have to hedge that, or you have to diversify with the one market which is growing very fast. So that's the best diversification methodology, country-based, because now in the world is happening, Europe is mature market, they are not growing. So why people looking for the Eastern Europe, or they are looking for the emerging markets like Brazil and other countries? Because of that. So the second thing is the economic development phase. If the countries in the economic development phase is getting more comfortable, they not hungry enough to try the new things. So that's why we always invest usually the countries who is hungry. We call it like this. So if you look to the Balkans, but you cannot diversify the countries very strongly, very dramatically. You know, okay, maybe I don't know which one is the best one right now in the economic growing very fastly. I'm not sure about it. But that's why we couldn't do it in the Balkans, because we see all the Balkans or the South East Europe in the similar situation. But some of them, like not Balkan, but Estonia and other countries, has a digitalized mindset and the country, which makes us easy to invest, which makes the startups easy to go international. So we try to diversify like this.
It's very interesting that you talked about mindset, the digital mindset, because it kind of confirmed what I had in my mind, that it's not about the actual technology, it's about, you know, the culture, the way of thinking, and how the country is trying to transform itself, not only by bringing FDI or by bringing, you know, talents and things like that. These are the tools to create a dynamic situation into a country, to embrace digital transformation, to become more digital in their mindset, as you very rightly said. Because at the end of the day, I think that someone would like to invest to a country that knows, that has a sustainable digital policy. People are thinking about digitalization. It's not a one-off situation when we just did a boom in certain areas and then, okay, it vanished because we're going back to tourism. We're going back to shipping because these are the traditional things that we're doing. And what we want to do in Greece, and it's a part of the strategy that we're having, is to create a sustainable policy, a momentum that will last in the medium and the long term, to create a digitalization hub in this country, and probably more countries should follow such a policy perspective, because I think that at the end of the day, investors and people who want to invest their money and do their market decisions there think a lot about these, what I call it, intangible issues, you know, like digital mindset, as you said, digital culture in a country. How do they embrace, for example, digital nomads? How do they, it's not an issue of infrastructure, it's not an issue of what you're doing, what you're actually doing, it's an issue of how the mindset of a country has changed.
So we called at the World Economic Forum the fourth industrial revolution. Go ahead.
Mr. General Secretary liked the mindset, so I will give him one mindset word also. We try to be, you know, segment the people fixed mindset, which is happy the process, 10% is enough for their life. Always they are asking the question, how can I improve this? Versus growth mindset, we call it growth mindset, which means they always looking for new things and they never ask how can I improve. They ask how can I do it in different way. Yeah. So that's the important part.
Any other questions from the room, please? Do we have a microphone? I'm fine. Okay. Here.
Hi everybody. I'm Yorgos, and speaking of the mindset, I wanted to share an announcement, and I'll make a question afterwards. So we are throwing the first generative AI summit in Southeast Europe on June 15. So we bring a team of from OpenAI, Google, Bard, and all the big companies that represent the LLMs. It's taking place in Athens, so first of all, I want to bring it to your attention. We are bringing it with a team of about 30 people who come from Stanford, Columbia, Harvard, but also Greek universities, and we are inviting, of course, the area's academia and the region's academia and startups who have integrated Gen AI into either their workflows or their products. So we have a big representation from companies that are very well known in Greece, like I don't know, like Viva Wallet, Hellas Direct, Dialectica, you name it, people said it, and so on and so forth. But certainly I would like to extend the invitation to you guys that we don't know yet from the Balkans and Turkey. And we hear amazing stories here. So this is the first thing. The main thing about the mindset that I would like to point out, if you give me just 1 minute, is that the manifesto of the Gen AI Summit and the team, I want you to check the team, where they come from. It's Gen AI Summit, seeurope.com. Please do, and check the first speakers. But the mindset is that we don't want once more to wait to import a technology. Gen AI is like day zero right now, and what we bring is practitioners who have been building the models, and they come not with success stories, but they come with a growth mindset. And as you pointed out, the growth mindset says that we build it every day, and we are responsible for bringing the Gen AI tools that we built, and it's a trial and error. It's a work in progress. So we have such companies that come and tell us stories, a lot of lessons learned through trial and error, and how we can start using and developing products, Gen AI products, in the region as well. So we feel that we serve towards the direction that you pointed out, making Greece and the Balkans a hub, and this is why we called it SE Europe, a Gen AI Summit. So I would like to ask you, how would you help? How would you share leads from startups, but also people who integrate Gen AI into their workflows? Either this is organizations, public sector, we will have a lot of public sector, which is surprising, and companies, of course. Thank you so much.
Any responses?
The question was, how will we support? Yeah, I guess it is, but how will we support what? The summit, or?
Yeah, primarily it goes to our friends from other countries.
Of course, we can help you by inviting the other countries to the summit.
Would it be fair also to kind of broaden the terms of the debate around AI in general, right? So like, I mean, from your perspective, and if I look at you, I don't get my microphone, but from your perspective, what is needed in terms of like enabling the innovation around AI from the point of view of either the investors or the government, based on what we have here? I think it also leads into an interesting conversation around kind of the governance and privacy questions that will soon come up around the leapfrogging that the Balkans could do with the AI, and how that will also need a public-private approach. So maybe you can also broaden the question beyond the summit and more around the enabling environment.
Totally agree. Of course, we don't have a full-fledged plan about how to do it, but what we do best is that we bring different parts. We know how to bring the startups and the companies, because we train them about how they will integrate Gen AI into their workflows and into their products. But what we are missing is, first of all, an awareness on the public sector side, which means that we don't want to expect only the companies to take the lead. There are so many PPPs, so many we are going to have the CEO of the Super Fund in Greece. There are like 10,000 employees there, where there is so much room for opportunity for integrated Gen AI into the workflows of public sector people. So we would like to see the opportunity, or you see the opportunity beyond waiting, let's say, the companies to do the first trial. And of course, if we have the auspices of the governance side, it's going to be easier to bring such companies as well from other countries as well. That's an idea.
Yes, please go ahead.
It is a very interesting point, and I don't know if you were here in the beginning of the discussion. You were not, because there was a very interesting article from the World Economic Forum, actually, talking about how the states, the public administrations in general around the world, cannot take advantage of the innovation that happens at the ecosystem, at the startup ecosystem, due to the fact that their procurement rules are all very much made for big companies. So there is this distance between the startup ecosystem and what the startup ecosystem would like to offer to the public sector in general, and how the public sector receives these innovations, because it doesn't know how to receive these innovations. It hasn't adapted its rules, its mechanisms into collaborating with the ecosystem. When we thought about that, when we started thinking about how we're going to respond to such a challenge, because it was not very easy, we said that that's why I asked if you were here from the beginning. I talked about the Festos Fund that has been created in Greece. The Festos Fund is not just a fund that supports economically startup companies from around Europe that use 5G technology. It also gives them the opportunity to test their products in big public sectors, public sector organizations, which is the first time that something like that is happening in Greece. Because right now a startup company can say that I'm developing a product, I want to test it, so I'm going to go to the transport organization of Thessaloniki. Festos is going to facilitate the collaboration and the discussion, and I can test my product, and maybe the organization, the transport organization of Thessaloniki, can use this product if it's successful in its operation. So we thought about creating a public venture capital mechanism, not just funding, but also giving the space inside the public organization, because the biggest employee provider right now in Greece is the public sector. So what you described actually is happening right now in Greece, and well, I don't know how many companies have used this ability that we're giving through the Festos Fund, but the ability is there. I mean, the fact that a startup company can use a public sector organization to test their products is right there. It can happen at any time. So I don't know if I...
Yeah, I don't have, I'm not able right now to share the pipeline of investments of Festos. However, it is on the website. I don't remember. However, as Mr. Christopoulos said, this is a unique opportunity for investee companies of Festos to have a proof of concept through a substantial customer, let's say. So then they can commercialize their project more. However, Yorgo, what I think that you want to show, you want to present from your side is what we already discussed here about having stepping stones in cross-border collaborations, not going directly and swiftly in a position, but through stepping stones to build the... Yes, yes, exactly. This is what exactly what was discussed earlier. So I think you can call the Festos fund managers and have a chat with them. It will be very interesting. And also some of our funds that they invest in high tech or in the tech sector in general.
Perfect. Well, that was a very exciting end to the panel. We're almost at time. Would anybody else from the speakers like to add anything to this conversation? Max? Yes, go ahead.
Just add a very small comment coming from history, because I have many aha moments right now because of this panel. So if you remember, Europe was a very divided continent before and after the World War II. So what they did is that they picked up a very an area of collaboration in coal and steel. They made a community of coal and steel, and their ambition was that this would have a spillover effect in creating a peaceful continent through an economic area. So Balkans could also choose technology as an economic area to have a spillover effect in collaborating in other areas as well. Technology could become the coal and steel community of the Balkans in 2023.
Very good proposition.
Anybody else would like to share an aha moment they've had from today's conversation? If not, I think we had a pretty good one to begin with. Well, thank you very much to the speakers for sharing your thoughts. Let's give them a... And I think, of course, the first step to collaboration is dialogue. So it's even just something to, you know, appreciate that we all came to the table and were able to have this conversation. So thank you very much, and we look forward to the next session. Thank you.